Good morning, Panther fans. I'm 51 years old, and some days I feel like I'm 41. Some days I wake up feeling like I'm 81, and that's today. That's today. And I'm sure the whole ESPN plus debacle, and then as soon as we got that situated, I mean, half the stream was people going, "How can I watch this game?" It was incredible.
Including
Um,
me.
right, including Stu. And then,
How
so
am
by
I
the time
supposed,
we started
how am
having
I
a good
supposed to
time, we lost.
do a review if I can't watch the game?
Right. So we might be here a hot minute today. All right. Um, we lose that game 3-2 in overtime, and I'm just going to give the mic to my buddy Stu because just because I'm tired. So go ahead, brother.
Well, I got a few years on you, so
Yeah,
I won't divulge my age, but let's just say it's quite a few years.
yeah.
All right, so welcome to Flying Fluffy Hockey, the #1 Panther fan podcast in the world. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. If you like our videos, hit the like button. Okay, get that out of the way. All right, so listen, here's the deal. A lot of times we come on here, we have no notes and we wing it and whatnot. And a lot of times I don't watch Eric's review, his recaps until before we come on. But I'm not going to say it's uncanny, but what I'm going to say is Eric and I are like, we see the same things because he touched on a number of things that I was going to talk about in the recap. So let's just start out and get it out of the way with the ESPN Plus. If I never watch a game on ESPN Plus, forget about it. So you're right. On the stream, there were a whole bunch of us frustrated that we couldn't get the game.
Right.
We had this website, won't name it, but
Right.
I was able to watch the games, and now they got a whole new thing where, I don't know, you need a VPN or whatever. So
Right.
I couldn't get the game.
Right.
So everybody suggested Hulu.
Right.
Hulu was running things. So anyway, I signed up, but I missed the first period.
Yeah. A lot of people.
A little bit. I was listening to the Tampa radio. I have Sirius, so I found the Tampa channel, but they were so many minutes behind.
It's behind.
I turned that off.
Right.
All right. So anyway, let's recap. So the Panthers came out. Oh, I want to address the announcers. So,
and by the way, just on the Hulu thing to talk, I was watching on Hulu and you were watching on Hulu, and I was a good minute behind you. It's
more than a minute, more than a minute.
Right.
So here's my take on the announcers from last night, because I disagree with you. They were pointing out how the Panthers were fast and they were taking it to Tampa, and Tampa didn't look good. I really didn't see any bias towards Tampa last night until really at the end of the game when Tampa took over the game.
Well, my complaint was the comment about the it should have been the penalty shot.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But at least they didn't have that female announcer with the screeching voice. I mean, so it was Butcher Grass doing the play-by-play, Ray Ferraro doing the color. They can't shine Goldie and Randy's shoes, okay?
Right.
Still the best combo of calling a hockey game. All right, so Panthers dominate for at least the first period, and I think the second. Let's just say the theme of this video is 60 minutes and Paul Maurice.
Right.
So, but they're intertwined.
Yeah.
And I agree. Cooper is just a great coach, and he tends to outcoach our coaches. I don't understand Maurice. Didn't he learn from Bruno as far as sticking with the same stupid, no changes, just let me put the same guys out on the power play and go 0 for 12. Okay.
Right.
When we had Montour and Ekblad, okay, when we had Montour running the power play,
right,
they might not have scored, but they were moving the puck around, they were getting their shots, blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah. He goes back, like you said, he goes back to Barkov, who really should not be running the power play.
No.
Okay.
And even the people that like Barkov agree that that's just not a strong suit. And I'm not saying we don't like Barkov, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Montour,
Right.
even Forsling, but Montour he's the quarterback.
Right.
He should always be out there. And Barkov should be, I think Barkov should be, on that right, looking at the goal on that right side. And I would have Reinhart, a right-handed shot, in that Ekblad spot.
Right.
Granted, Reinhart can't find the freaking barn right now. Okay. I don't know how many times he's going to get opportunities and blow the shot. Okay. So the power play is dismal right now. And that, contrary to Tampa's power play, which is one of the top power plays, that is our downfall playing Tampa.
Yeah.
Take too many penalties, and they just 4 guys: Hedman, Stamkos, Point, and Kucherov. And I don't care, Bob, like you said, he's our number 1 star for that game. Without Bobrovsky, forget about it.
Yeah.
So that was a downfall. Maurice is not rolling 4 lines, and he's burning out the top 2 lines.
He's barely rolling 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Right.
So
I can't believe we're here again.
We're going to get this the whole season. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Kachuk penalty in overtime. First of all, turnovers are going to happen. He was on a breakaway. Obviously, no penalty shot. I don't know how those guys even came up with it. But here's why Kachuk did what he did. Remember, and I said Kucherov's a piece of shit, and I don't like him. He knew he could have eased up on Barkov, but he hit him hard into the boards to hurt him. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe it wasn't intentional to hurt him. It was intentional to crush him. But the way his body was positioned, I mean, Barkov smacked his head on the glass of the boards. Okay. It's a miracle that he's not hurt. And of course, when he went off the ice, I was like, oh no.
Oh, geez, right.
Okay. So that's why Kachuk did what he did. That's why he took that extra shot at him. It's his way of saying, you fucked with my captain, you're going to pay for it. And like I said, that's why I respect him as a player, but I think Kucherov is a POS for that reason. Okay. He knew that Barkov was vulnerable, and he drove him into the boards no matter what. Now, if you notice in the overtime, when Kachuk smacked him, did you see Kucherov cowering on the ice? Oh, I'm hurt. He's done that so many times, okay? And then Hedman comes in and, punches Kachuk. Okay? It should have been 2-2, because that's what happened to the Panthers the game before. Remember? I forget who it was. Oh, it was Kachuk again, I think. And then we ended up it was a definitely knee-on-knee situation.
Yeah.
I don't know who was the team. Was it Philly?
Oh, might have been Boston.
I don't know.
Boston,
whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Balsa's got kneed, and there was a scrum, and Kachuk ends up getting a penalty for like retaliation. So
right.
All right. So just wanted to explain, if anybody wanted to kind of know why Kachuk did what he did. All right. The slash was a way of breaking up the play. That extra shot was okay. So that's
I have a little bit of a different take this morning than I did last night, to be honest with you.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I'm talking on the slash. In hindsight, I'm thinking, you know what? You've got Bob in the shooter, or you've got 2 minutes of 4-on-3 in overtime. And I'll take my odds with Bob making that save on Kucherov before I purposefully take the slash to stop the shot, and then get, because how many 4-on-3s in overtime don't end the game? Once you get to 4-on-3 in overtime, it almost always.
Well, at least in our case.
Right. So in hindsight, I would have preferred Kachuk to just let Bob take the shooter. And if he doesn't make the save, the game's over. But if he makes the save, then we're still going 3-on-3 and we're good to go, because you may as well end the game practically for the most part. I don't know what the stats are, but it's just so much open ice with a man advantage in overtime. It almost always leads to a goal. So,
Right.
but
But you got to remember, everything's happening in split second.
yeah, I
If
said
if he trips them, then it's a penalty shot.
right. He got a shot
But
off. So I don't know what the hell they were talking about with a penalty shot. He got a shot off. It almost went through Bob's legs.
right,
you know.
I don't
So
know.
all
I mean,
right,
maybe, but
right.
again, it's in the in the heat of the moment, and that's what
Yeah,
he
yeah,
did.
yeah.
But I know why he gave him that extra shot.
Right. I see what you're
So
saying.
again, we're really lucky that Barkov. I mean, I thought when I saw his head hit the glass, I said, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like Marchment, he's going to be out with a
Yeah.
concussion.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of dodged the bullet there.
The good
The
news is
defense, and I'm going to look you guys in the camera and tell you, I was much more impressed with Mark Stahl's game last night. He did not make game-changing
right,
bad decisions.
right,
He played good.
right.
The GOAT of that game is Ratko Gudas, because Ratko Gudas didn't get Point out of the crease. If you watch the replay, you'll see Point is all alone. I
Yeah.
mean, he even was able to like reposition his body and put the puck on his forehand
But
and put it over Bob. Game over. But
I'm not
Gudas could have slammed like Sergachev does, and Hedman and Chernak, they clear the crease right away. Gudas
right.
either had his back, he was out of position. Point should never have been alone like that to pop the goal in.
I think now, while you're not wrong, I've seen multiple times, seen in the preseason, we've seen in the regular season. I think there's something with the learning curve with the system, because we've seen it multiple times where it appears as though the defenders are doing their job and the forwards aren't coming back. And on that goal, Montour was at the blue line covering the forward. So I don't know if they're missing assignments and it's mental, but it seems I'm thinking that it might be. Um, because many of the goals we've seen, it seems as though one guy doesn't appear to be where he should be, or there's somebody missing where there should. I think that they're having some kind of communication or some kind of learning curve with whatever new system Maurice is putting in, because um that's just not like Gudis to leave a guy there. You know what I mean? And Cooper, we've talked about this. You can beat the crap out of that team for 2 periods, and then Cooper's going to figure out what you're doing in the intermission and come out in the third period and beat you. And that's what he did. It's what he did last night. Um, and to your point, and it was my point, your point, our point. It's funny when I uploaded the recap to Twitter, the first two tweets I saw were stuff that I saw that I said in the recap. Um, the biggest thing is the refusal to make changes to that top line. Okay.
Well,
Just
that
to, I
I was
mean,
gonna get
just
I was gonna get there next.
yeah. And well, in the power play, I don't
I was gonna get
understand.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand. All we lost was Ekblad. We had Ekblad and Barkov, Kachuk and Reinhardt and Montour. Now
And that's
the only thing I can think is maybe Montour's shoulder's not good enough yet. If it's upper body, and that's why he's not running them, maybe he goes back.
he looked fine to me, Eric.
I know,
Like I
I know.
said, the answer is you got a right-handed shot in Reinhardt. We know that he can fire the puck. Granted, he hasn't been accurate, but still,
Right,
that's the answer.
right,
Got Barkov, Kachuk, Hornquist, Montour, and Reinhardt. There's the
right,
answer to the power play. You just
right.
substitute Reinhardt for Ekblad. Okay,
And I don't, like
let's
you said,
talk.
and it's just I'm sorry. It's just I don't get it, because last year Ekblad went out. They put Barkov in the power play, and it sucked. And
Yeah.
so is Maurice not what does he think he's got some magic beans that's suddenly going to
All he's
make
got to do
Barkov a
is
good
go
power
back
play?
to the end of the year in the playoffs and watch
Right.
video.
I,
Listen,
I don't get it.
how come we know, not know, how come we can see it and they don't see it?
Right. I don't know.
Reinhardt, move him back to the third line with Lundell. There's chemistry there. And you're right, move Colin White up.
Yeah.
Try it.
Right.
Experiment. Try
Right.
it.
Right.
But you gotta roll 4 lines.
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
Ahead,
the top line, and Verhaeghe had a good game last game, but where was he last night? I just think that line is just discombobulated.
Right.
And it just frustrates both of us, obviously, that I mean, Maurice was brought in as an improvement on Burnett, but he's doing the same things.
Literally the same things.
I want to talk about Kjærstad. He's playing pretty good.
Yeah.
He's not doing that sophomore panic or rookie panic like he did, and that's why they sent him down. Yeah. Mahura continues to play solid.
Yep.
And what I liked about the broadcast last night is Forsling finally got his due. Yeah. Because these guys were just like, what an unbelievable pickup. He got him off waivers. He's definitely a top 4 defenseman. They're finally seeing how great this kid is. And again, you know, I'm Forsling's #1 fan from day one. I knew, you know, when I saw him skate and whatnot, and, you know, this kid is really good. I wish he was more offensive, minded, but he concentrates on defense, which is his job.
Right.
So I would even, like, crazy as you might think, but I'd have Forsling and Montour just experiment on that power play until you get it right.
Right.
What's insanity? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Right.
So unless changes are made to that power play, we're gonna go 0 for 25 again.
I know it's incredible to watch. And that's the most frustrating thing. It's one thing if he was experimenting, oh, this isn't working, that isn't working. He's starting off by making the same exact mistakes that got Bruno fired. It's very, very confusing.
Yeah, they made a point of saying coach of the year and they fire him. Well, they fired him because he didn't do anything different than you know, we talked about this, so there's no reason. I mean, they brought Maurice in, his experience and whatnot, but you know, somebody pointed out that he's got like the most losses as an active. So I'm not really happy with what I'm seeing right now, coaching wise. But I think the Panthers, if they could just play 60 minutes, man, and stay out of the box.
Stay out of the box.
Some of the penalties, interference.
Right.
You know, like Bennett takes a stupid penalty, which he does like Vetrano. I mean, we always knew Vetrano was good for at least one stupid penalty a game.
Yeah.
That's Bennett. That's Bennett. He inherited it. So anyway, and again, I want to just say that we cannot fault anything on goaltending.
No.
Bob made some incredible saves.
Right.
But all right, I want to give Tampa some props. They just, their power play just kills us. Every time they get a power play, I like go,
oh God.
Okay, because that's how you run a power play.
Yep.
You got 2 guys with a lot of firepower. Now, Barkov, I don't even know if he's the guy on that, sir. Maybe, I know you have Kachuk and Hornquist in front, you know, causing havoc. So you have to have somebody. But if we had a Kucherov, you know, we already have like Reinhardt, let's just say Reinhardt taking Ekblad's spot on the left. But if we had a guy on the, that would mean Barkov not being on the power play. If we had a
Right.
guy with a cannon on the right side, like Kucherov, now that's supposed to be and you know what? Barkov has the shot. He just doesn't take it.
Well, remember, that's also normally Duke's spot. That's part of the issue.
Duke's going to be a big question mark.
I don't know what
Does
the
he
hell we're gonna.
Does he come back like Huberdeau did and just take his game to another level? You know,
Right.
when Huberdeau came back from his Achilles injury, that's when his numbers started. He became a better player.
Yeah, yeah. He
And
put on
maybe
some weight.
because in his rehab he bulked up.
Right.
He was a skinny malink. That's why I always forget his name. The kid we traded to Chicago.
Borgstrom.
That's why Borgstrom never made it here, because he was, 165 pounds and they pushed him off the puck every time.
Yep.
So anyway, those are the adjustments I think that should be made. So Coach Maurice, listen to us. We know better than you. Move Reinhardt to the left side in Ekblad's spot. Put Montour back quarterbacking, and that back pass. Mark my words, guys. We're going to get burned. One of these games, one of the opposing players is going to steal, because they're not passing it fast. They're just lollygagging, passing behind like real. And you know what? Somebody's gonna
figure that out
and score, and that's going to be embarrassing.
Yeah. So I want to add to the we know better than Coach Maurice. A good half of Twitter also knows better than Coach Maurice at this point. I don't understand. We've all seen this before. This is what got Bruno fired. It is mind numbing. Now, I know some people said, well, it's only 3 games. And then they said, well, it's only 4 games. Now, 5. The honest question, how many games with no goals for Barkov and Reinhardt before you can say, okay, can we make we're not like saying bench the dude. It's just like, just change one winger on 2 lines. This isn't
doesn't he know how successful Lundell, Reinhardt, and Marchment were last year?
That's the other half of it.
Maybe having Reinhardt on that line would make Luosterainen better.
I know. I don't know. I got nothing for how. Unless he's got unless now, okay, we lost another game. Power play kind of cost us a game. You had 2 power plays before Tampa even could get on the ice practically in the first period, and we blew them both.
We have at least, what did we have? 5 or 6 power plays last night?
I lost count.
I think 5.
Yeah, I think it was
5 opportunities, even scoring 1 power play goal.
Yeah,
but we got the 2-1, and instead of continuing to play aggressive and fast, we went into that protect the lead mode.
Right. Yeah, no, you could see it in
don't make a mistake mode instead of attack, and that's when we're the best. And the ESPN guys pointed that out, how fast this team is, and we were running circles. And it was one sequence when Butchergrass was like, look at that flow. The guys were like skating around. Look at that flow.
Right.
So we stopped doing that. I sent Tampa, of all teams.
I know. It had to be Tampa. And we had the foot on their neck to keep them in last place, and we let them up off the mat.
Well,
it is.
Why? You know why, right?
Why? What?
We haven't even mentioned him.
Clue me in.
Andre Vasilevski.
Oh yeah, geez, that guy. You had to bring him into the conversation.
Come on. That's the elephant in the room. We can't beat that guy. You beat him when the Balsa's first goal.
Right.
When he can't, he can't react to what he can. But usually he doesn't get beat with snipe shots.
Right.
And we threw some good shots at him, but Bob went toe-to-toe with him, and I'm really proud of Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky is
Yeah, he's in his
Again,
zone. Yeah.
we bashed him the first couple of years,
Mm.
and he played really good last year.
Right.
Gave us a shot. All you ask of your goalie is to give you a shot at winning.
Right.
And Bob's doing that job.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's it. I know. Very, very
Nothing,
frustrating.
nothing else to
And
say.
just hopefully maybe coach has a 5-game rule where if it doesn't work for 5 games, then he switches things up. I'm beside myself, just like a lot of us are, where it's just like, this is what we just did. This is how we got swept by Tampa. And the biggest thing for me, though, even bigger than the power play thing, is the time on ice. I was researching for an article yesterday, and going into last night's game, Stu, I don't know if you saw this, but going into last night's game, of the players in the NHL that had played 4 games, there were only 2 players in the entire NHL with less ice time than Ryan Lomberg and Nick Cousins. And the only reason Hornquist wasn't on that list is because he's on the power play. That can't be. We've got a good fourth line. They're capable of scoring goals. All of those, I mean, our Hornquist we already obviously know. Cousins that can score goals. We know Lomberg can get hot and put some goals together. And I'm not happy at all with what I'm seeing with the time on ice and I'm
That's what
just not
Bugner did. He burned them out. Don't forget, it's only game 5. What's
right.
going to happen if they continue to do this? By the playoffs, we'll be toast.
Now, while we're in a crappy mood, I just want to bring one more thing in because I'm highly concerned about this. Because going by what I just said, where he's really just completely disregarding the fourth line. And then we sign Eric Stahl, right? Now, when Ekblad comes back, we don't have any room for Eric Stahl. However, my fear is that Coach Maurice is going to view Eric Stahl as the Patrick Hornquist replacement, and that's how we're going to clear space for everybody else. I know I'm not saying I want it, but what I've seen so far with this coach, that rhymes. I really think because if he's disregarding that line anyway, he probably figures, Stahl can give me 7
So
or
what do
8
you
games,
do with what
right?
do you do with Cousins? Because Stahl's the center.
You put, I don't know. I mean, I guess you put Cousins at wings. Cousins at wing. He's played plenty of wing before. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I want it. I'm just
Listen,
saying I can see the writing on the wall with
I I
where this is
told you
going.
when they hired Maurice, what did I say about him and his preference with veterans?
Right, right. Well, I mean, it's not like Hornquist isn't a veteran, but you've got Zito out there saying that Duke looks like he's ready for a December, January return, and the only way that's happening is if Patrick Hornquist is not on this team, and then we sign a guy
And
that
what do
you
you
would.
and what do you do?
I'm not.
You go to Patrick Hornquist and say, "Look, we love you, but we got to trade you for cap
if
space."
if it
That's like
happens, they
that's
probably
like
already have. They probably already have. For all we know, they're keeping them off the ice. They're playing that fourth line so little to keep Hornquist healthy. I mean, I guess if he got hurt, he'd go to LTIR, but you see my point. I'm hoping I'm wrong. And it's not even saying I'm right. I'm just saying yeah, you know, hey, look, if you're having trouble with your woman at home and all of a sudden she's hanging out with the new guy from the office, you got to see the writing on the wall. You know what I mean? And Patrick Hornquist is getting ignored. And coach goes out and signs this other guy for dirt base minimum cheap. I hate to say it, but if there's another way out
listen.
of this, what Hornquist needs to do is my back, and get put on LTIR for the rest of the season. That's what he needs to do, is pull a back muscle that
Yeah, but
needs
he
2 months rest.
he's got too much pride. He wants to play.
Mhm.
Here of all
And so,
teams where they should have played Lombard and Hornquist, it should have been Tampa.
amen.
Tampa likes to mix it up with us. And again, here's another guy that gets me. Sergachev.
Yeah.
Another and Maroon. He's another one.
Maroon was quiet last night, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he
But
wanted to start anything with Kachuk on the ice.
we didn't even talk about him.
Yeah, he was quiet
A
last night.
goal and an assist. He won. Oh, here's another big thing. See, we don't take notes, so we got to think.
Yeah, yeah,
Look how many face-offs we lost. And look how the face-off killed us.
yeah.
Point won that face-off and ended up scoring.
Right, right, right.
We got to do much better in the face-off circle.
Agreed.
And at the time of before last night's game, Tampa was like way down in the league statistics as far as won face-offs. Well, I think they won 12 in a row at one point. Yeah, they won 12 in a row.
Yeah, I do remember a couple of times
Because they
calling
said
the
11
faceoffs.
and then they won another one and they said that's 12.
That's not good.
You can't win hockey games if you're losing faceoffs, especially on the
Right.
most important faceoff is on the power play. Because once you win
Yeah.
the faceoff, then you get to set it up. And that's the undoing for us as far as Tampa's power play.
Yeah, once they get
It's
set up.
happened every time we give them a chance to set up. I mean, again, that's the type of power play we need. We've talked about it.
Right.
You know, we've talked about, the 5 of spades and how they'd set that up. And you got the middle point in the middle. And you got Stamkos on the left for his one-timer.
No,
and then you got Kucherov, who could either shoot, but Kucherov, to me, is better on the power play than Barkov.
Right.
Barkov's too slow and he's too indecisive. It's like chess. You got to know what you're doing with the puck.
Right.
Before you get it, or as soon as you get it, not
Right.
like skater and think about, okay, who can I find? Okay,
right.
that's it.
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right, guys. So everybody have a good weekend or a good Saturday. Tomorrow, pray for me. The Panther game starts at 5 o'clock. The live stream starts at 4. The Dolphin game starts at 8:20. So the live stream ends after the Dolphin game. If you plan on attending, I really appreciate that. I thank you for all of the support. The second half of the Dolphin game, I make no promises about coherence, language, content. I make no promises after 10 o'clock at night, after we've been live streaming for 6 hours. It should be fun. Hide the women and children. That's all I can say about that, especially when it's going to be the Dolphins. I mean, geez, that alone should just, yeah, exactly. So, all right.
All right, guys, I always ask for comments. Keep them respectful, but if you disagree with me, call me out, whatever. If you agree with me and you're seeing what we're seeing, again, I've been hard on Mark Stahl. I told you he played a good game last night. So,
and just to be clear, we're not complaining about Barkov. In fact, Barkov looked really good after the injury last night. He came back like he was mad and pissed off, which is how he needs to play.
And we're not slamming Barkov, okay? We
no,
love the guy, okay?
It's just,
and it's, but we're seeing some things that could be better. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean,
don't even involve Barkov.
No, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter between Barkov and Reinhart. It could be a 2-on-0, and somehow the puck would not go in the net.
There was one, and Barkov made a great pass to Reinhart. He just shot it over the net. You know why? Here's why. Because he was looking for that top corner,
right?
Which is, such a small little area, and these guys are so good finding it, but a lot of times they miss.
Yeah.
Stamkos did it. These goalies are big.
Right.
Vasilevski 6'4". He covers the net so well. The only way to beat him, like I said, either a deflection or a rebound when he's down. I mean, we scored a goal the other night where the goalie was on his knees the whole time.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And they even made a point of saying the goalie, that's when he's got to stand. Vasilevski covers the net so good that, and again, that little box top corner is where these guys go for, because they know the goalie can't. They put it by his ear. He can't react. Vasilevski is one of the best. So that's why Reinhart was going top shelf, and that's it's just the shot's got to be right on.
Yep.
So,
all right, guys. Stu and I'll be back Monday morning if I'm still alive after Sunday afternoon. I'm sure I will be. Hopefully
hopefully to be after a win. And
Did you
some
give up the
changes.
weight thing? Did you give up the curls?
Oh,
and
no,
shit?
no, I'm not giving that up. I was lit. And, I halfway through the game yesterday, because in the intro, in the pregame, I said, we haven't had an overtime game yet. So half called that. And then halfway through the stream, I looked at Kyle and said, hey, wait a minute. It's not only, first off, it's like if we lose in overtime, I got to lift weights right after we lose. And then I said, well, what are we doing this? And then he says, well, what are you doing this shootout? And I was like, but the stream agreed that I don't lift for each ball in the shootout. It's just, if we lose the shootout, then I have to go lift. So, but yeah, last night was fun. I had to watch us lose, and then I had to get my ass up off the couch.
I
and
think
do
we
60
had
reps.
one opportunity in overtime,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that's the one that led to the goal. No, that was I don't know. We had one opportunity. I think Forsley might have been on the ice, and
Right. Yeah.
it went nowhere. So
It went
anyway,
nowhere. Yeah.
have a good day, everybody.
All right, guys. We appreciate it. We'll see you again soon. I am